My man Whit, I first have to thank you for doing this because I know that you're a big time golfer and you're just coming off a fresh trip out in California. So thanks for hopping on the show, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we're here doing this podcast, and like I just said, you're out in Pebble Beach, getting some rounds in. How's the trip?
It was great. Yeah, it was great. It was something I've done for, I think this is my 5th or 6th year doing it. There's a little tournament that goes on right around Thanksgiving, just before, and yeah, one of my great friends is lives out there and has invited me to play in it. He invited me in 2016 when I got called up as kind of my um, welcome to the big leagues type gift, I guess. And we did pretty well, and he's invited me back ever since.
There you go. And did you come home with any souvenirs? Because I know you got a closet full of polo shirts that you treat as your trophies from every time that you go to a different golf course.
Yeah, I mean, I've got so much Pebble Beach stuff. I didn't come home with much of this year, just some gift bags of polos and jackets and stuff they give us every year. But over the years, I've collected so much stuff that whenever I move into this house that we're building, it's going to be just full of Pebble Beach, which I'm fired up for. I love that place.
I bet. And do you have any like framed photos or anything like that are going to go up on the wall? I feel like between your Instagram stories, and I got a buddy who actually went to University of South Carolina, Brandon, and he actually lives out there in Monterey. I like anytime I see any sort of golfing post out there, I'm like, dude, you guys are living in heaven right there. I know that was a trip for you, but it's so awesome, man. Like so crazy, like picturesque.
It is. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And the house we're building, I've got this golf simulator room that I'm putting in, and I've got this big graphic I'm putting on the wall that's going to be the walk down number 9 and number 10 fairway at Pebble, which is one of my favorite stretches in the world. It's just on a cliff. There's a huge beach to the right. You kind of going from elevated to down, and so it's just a beautiful view of the golf course, the beach, the mountains in the background. It's awesome. That'll be it.
When it's ready, I'm coming over, and we're gonna do part 2.
That's where I'll be hanging out.
So your wife Jordan, awesome wife. Like when you go on all these trips, does she go with you? And if she does, like what does she usually do? And did she have to give you the official okay for the man cave element to the house?
She came last year, actually. The first time I convinced her to come out to Pebble Beach, and so she came out and really enjoyed it. But yeah, with that whole part of the house, I told her this is what we decided on the kind of house we wanted, and I was like, you get all of this to do what you want. Just leave me this little area over here, and I'll make it my own.
Dude, that's a great approach, man. That's a great way to get a yes. So everybody listening to this, if you want to get that yes, that's how.
No doubt. No doubt.
Where do the cows come into play? Because I've seen your original house, the walkthrough and stuff like that on YouTube, but then you also had an Instagram post where you're just talking in front of, it must have been like 10 cattle or something like that?
Yeah, so that's right where my house is getting built. So I live here in this little 900 square foot. We call it the cottage. I've been here for about 5 years, and probably, I don't know, 200 yards that way is through the woods and stuff, kind of hidden in the back is where we'll be. So I'm fired up for it. It's been a long process getting this thing going, and it's finally down to the home stretch.
Hey man, well, congratulations. And I know we were just talking about golfing a lot, but dude, you are an MLB All-Star. You've led the American League in stolen bases a handful of times, and you're just an absolute stud. And the thing that I love about your story most is the fact that, and you've said this yourself, you've had a lot of ups and you've had a lot of downs, and it's just all about kind of staying even keel as much as possible. That's what baseball is all about, especially during a 162 game season. But dude, Whit Merrifield, thank you so much for hopping on. Keep swinging, brother.
Yeah, it's been a long journey, but it's been a fun one, full of a lot of great memories with a lot of great people, and stuff that I'll cherish for forever. So and I still got a lot of years left. So I'm looking forward to making more memories.
Oh, big time. And I'm sure your parents are proud. So going back to when you were a kid, your mom, she was a college athlete, your dad, professional baseball player. So how instrumental were not just your dad, because I know you talk about your dad a lot, but your mother as well, when it comes to just like how they played a huge role in your life at such a young age when it comes to sports?
Yeah, I mean, just sports was everyday life for me growing up. Between my mom and my dad, dad playing, and then he quit playing when I was 1, and so I never, got to experience being in the locker room or anything like that. But he, as soon as he got out of playing, he went right into the sports industry. So I mean, every day it was sports in the household, and my mom being a huge athlete, it was when we were just hanging out, me and her. We were throwing the ball or hitting or playing tennis or running around, or it was just sports and competition was always in my household, and it's a big part of the success that I've been able to have. Just that competitive drive and fire has just been instilled in me from the time that I could move.
I bet. And your mom, so she played tennis. So were you that kid that when they went out to the tennis court with her, that you would just be like swinging the thing like a baseball bat, going over the fence, hitting those tennis balls?
No, no, I mean I've always really enjoyed every sport that I've played, whether it be uh, football, basketball, baseball, which is what I played in high school. But even if I was just going out to play tennis, I really enjoyed it, wanted to be good at it. And mom, would teach me tennis. Forehand came easy for me. Forehand, I got a good forehand. It was the
There
serve
you
and the
go.
backhand that I never quite figured out and didn't really have the patience to figure it out. But I love going out there and hitting with her. But like I said, whether it was soccer during recess or golf, I've always kind of had that perfectionist, I guess, when it comes to sports.
Well, hey, everything worked out pretty well, and you obviously took a liking to baseball, and your dad having been a baseball player, and he was your coach when you were 12, right? And if I read correctly, you did not play at like one point, or he didn't have you in like the starting line. You weren't like daddy's coach's kid or whatever they call him, or if that's still even a thing. But he treated you just as any other kid, right? Like there's no favoriting, there's none of that stuff.
Yeah, no, there wasn't. He, he's a hard nosed guy, and he's always been really straightforward with myself as an athlete and as a man. And the same with my brother. Not so much my sister. She's kind of got the daddy's girl type. He's under her finger a little bit more than my brother and I. But yeah, I mean, from a young age, I had that instilled in me that you have to earn everything that you're gonna get. And I wasn't. It's not that I wasn't good when I was that age. I was just small, and I didn't grow into being able to be successful on the baseball field. I'd make a good swing and hit the ball, and it wouldn't really go anywhere. So he told me you're not one of the best players, one of the best 9 players out there. So I'm gonna have you play, but in these tournaments when games matter, you're probably gonna pinch run or maybe come in late or whatever. But until you're one of the best 9, you're not gonna play. And it, never want to hear when you're young and your dad tells you that. That can be a slap in the face, but it's something that was important, and it was important to my growth and my development. And I wish that more kids got a wake up call like that.
Oh, for sure. It sounds like you took it really well. It's not like you were breaking any
Oh, I
rules
didn't take it
back at
well.
home.
I
Oh,
didn't take
oh,
it
oh!
well,
All
but
right, all right, all
it
right. Give me an
over the
example.
long haul. Yeah, I mean, you're 11, 12 years old. Your dad sits you on the bench. You're gonna start crying, doing all, pitching a fit, and
Yeah.
I did that once or twice, and then I got told that that's not how you act, and learned from it, and moved on, and it served me well later on. But no, I mean, yeah, I didn't sit there at 12 years old going, yes, sir, I know I'm not good. I need to play better. It's we're all young and we all need to learn.
Did you throw any lines at him like, "Hey, Dad, guess who's not mowing the lawn this week? This guy."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think that had gone over too well.
Now you mentioned your size. Even in high school, you were a smaller dude. What, like 140, and you even got a chance to take batting practice at Fenway Park. And I don't believe at that time you had hit one out or anything just like that. But like just like always a small dude, and it's just so cool that even though you're not the prototypical size in baseball, and like you said, you had to learn this specific way, it's just so awesome that you didn't that didn't distract you or take you away from wanting to play this sport, which is so cool and something I admire about you.
Yeah, I mean, I graduated high school 6 foot, 140 pounds, and so I think it was between, I think it was seventh and eighth grade that I went from like 5'2" to 5'8". You know, I hit a pretty big growth spurt, and then grew another 4 inches or so in high school, and graduated at 6 foot, I think 140 pounds, and never hit many home runs in high school, but figured out other ways to get the job done. You know, I became a really good bunter because I knew I wasn't going to hit the ball out of the park consistently, so I really worked on my speed and getting fast, and I became really fast and tried to figure out how to use that to my advantage. And so in high school, I became a really good bunter, which in turn, when I got to college, it helped me find a job pretty quickly because we needed a center fielder. I was a shortstop, and our coach came to me and goes, "Can you play center?" I said, "Yeah, of course I can play center. Never played center before, but of course I can play center." And they threw me in at the 2 hole because I was a really good bunter. Our leadoff man was named Reese Havens. He had like a
Oh yeah,
five,
Reese. Yeah.
yeah, he had like a 560 on base percentage or something stupid like that his junior year. First rounder with the Mets. I hit two. Justice Smoke hit three. First rounder, 10-year big leaguer. James Darnell hit four, who was a second rounder with the Padres, hit 30 homers or 20 homers in college. 20 is the magic number. And then we had Phil Disher hitting five, who also hit like 20, 25 home runs. So my job, Reese would get on, I would bunt, and those guys would come up. And that's how I got in the lineup. And, you know, there was times where I didn't bunt, you know, they didn't get on or I'd get the swing or whatever. And I slowly learned how to be successful, but it was because I did those things early on and prepared myself to be the type of player that would make me successful. I got to play and I created an opportunity for myself and took advantage of that and kept growing and kept learning. And, you know, it's just kind of how it all worked out.
Yes, you took the words out of my mouth. The way that you created opportunity, man, it was perfect, dude. And that's a huge credit to your work ethic and just knowing what it takes to go out there and get the job done. And you're bringing up college, like, dude, you went undrafted out of high school to getting a scholarship with University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks, which, dude, a great D1 program. You named a bunch of awesome players. They have even more other guys like Jackie Bradley Jr., Jordan Montgomery, just a bunch of dudes. So the fact that you're able to create your own lane and really just kind of present all these skills and a wide range of skill set is just so awesome, man. And I hope that everybody who's listening to this kind of takes note to that, because if you think that you're gonna be a home run hitter and a home run hitter and that's it, like, dude, you're not gonna get anywhere. If you think you're gonna be a stolen base like king, you can be. Well, we're talking one right now, but like, there's so many different other parts of your game that you really gotta work on. So, dude, that is so cool. So, at this point in time, when you're in college, you got the draft and everything like that coming up, and then you got the College World Series, which put you on the map even more, getting the game-winning hit in the College World Series. But would you say, I know that a lot of people talk about your walk-off hit in the 11th inning, which you call a line drive, and I also like that you call it a line drive.
100% line drive.
Yeah. Would you say that that is like the highlight of your time at University of South Carolina, or was there anything else? Because that's really just like one moment, and one moment that a lot of people see and have like seen in highlights, obviously. But what is your biggest memory or biggest takeaway from your time at University of South Carolina?
I mean, there were so many different moments that happened, you know, where I learned and kind of got either humbled or just grew from. But I mean, it's that moment itself was by far the highlight of my baseball career in general. I mean, quite frankly, you know, I've always, you know, appreciated things that have happened on an individual level, but you know, we haven't won at the big league level, and that's something that we all strive to do, and that's the reason we play. So, you know, it's great to sit back and go, oh, you know, I did this and this, but at the end of the day, that's not really what resonates. What resonates is is winning and sharing those moments with your teammates. And I was fortunate to do that at South Carolina, which was extremely special. Not only that we won, but it was the first championship the university had in any sport. So to be able to do that with a group of guys that I really loved and still love to this day, and to share that with the community at South Carolina and Columbia that was just craving a championship, and it was something special, and that's something I'll never forget, and I hope to relive that at an even bigger stage, at the big league level one day.
Yeah, man. No, well said, and great fan base down there, and again, great group of guys. The camaraderie was awesome. Jordan Montgomery, he was telling me about Flannel Friday one time, which I was getting a kick out of when I DM'd you last night. The video, because I had the one flannel shirt that I have, I was wearing in it. But there's certain things like that too, where there's just such great bonding experiences. Did you like Flannel Friday? That was there when you were there, right? Or did they get rid of that?
I don't. There's college. You just so many stupid things, so many like little gimmicky
Yeah.
knickknack things that I don't know. Jordan was younger than me. Jordan was a freshman when I was a junior, so that might have come on a little bit later. I don't think that was around when I was around because I didn't have too many flannels, so I might have put an axe to that one if that one came about. So I think that was a little after me.
You're able to skip all the chafing. You didn't have to worry about any of that during
That's it.
sprints and
Yeah, that's
whatnot.
it. In Columbia, South Carolina, you don't wear flannel a whole lot. It's hot there.
Yeah. So eventually you get drafted and you did something that, God, I'm pumping your tires a lot here saying things that I love about you, but dude, so you get this signing bonus, 100,000, right? And so many people, they go and spend it on cars, house, all this stuff. You put $60,000 into the bank so that you can save it for later.
Where are you getting this from? That's
No?
You're
Okay.
digging. Did
Dude,
I say this?
yeah, well, apparently I could. I'll
Okay.
pull up the.
Well, you're right.
Yo,
Yeah, you're right.
it's funny. I always say, I always say that I try to know everything about anybody who I talk to, except for their waist size, their underwear size.
There you
But
go. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So hey, this is. I love this stuff, man, and I know you love playing baseball and doing this stuff. So I'm just trying to bring out the best with the best. You feel me?
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, I worked out a little deal with a local Volkswagen dealership. Um, I forgot how much I ended up getting. I think I ended up getting like probably like 70 of that 100,000 because the rest was taxes, but might have been a little less. But anyway, so I worked out this deal with this local Volkswagen dealership in town in Columbia and bought a new Volkswagen CCR line, which was a great car. I had it for a while. I
Yeah.
loved it. But I had like a little sports car in college. I needed a bigger car as I was going to be traveling more. So spent about $10,000 on that, and then put the rest in the bank. I tell people when people ask about my story, and there's been a lot of hardships, a lot of struggles, but it's all been from the athletic point of view. I've been very, very fortunate that, I didn't really have to worry about what was going on at home when I was playing. I could just focus on baseball. When I needed rent money, I'm not saying that, I was a sugar baby and that I got, my parents like flew me around and did all this stuff. But, if I needed rent money, they would help me with the rent. They would help me buy me groceries, and I'd have a place to stay. When I came home, I could stay with them. So I never really had to worry about financials. And so all the struggle that all this has happened, it's all been from an athletic standpoint. So I was very fortunate in that regard because not a lot of players are that play my game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A lot of them come from, third world countries that they're getting $600 paychecks every 2 weeks and sending $500 of it home to support their families because they go so far, at home, and they're trying to live off $100 like every two. It's crazy. It's just crazy what the minor league system is like, and we have taken some steps lately to help improve that, which is huge. And I'm so excited for those kids that are going to be able to live a little bit better. But anyway, I went off on a tangent there. But yeah, I put 60 grand in the bank. I think it's still I think
Yeah.
it's still in the bank too.
Do you still have the Volkswagen? I remember those, man. Those are pretty cool. They, like you said, they're
Yeah.
definitely much bigger.
No, that was so I held on to the Volkswagen. I think my first 2 years in the big leagues, and
Okay.
then I had a really good year in 17, and then I think halfway through 18, I was like, I need because I hadn't bought any like show purchases or any. So I was like, I need a new car. So I
Yeah.
ended up getting a nice Mercedes that I still have now and just love it. So that was my first big purchase that I made in the big leagues. Took me 2.5 years, but I finally made one.
Dude, hey, yeah, everything worked out pretty well, and I love that you said show purchase too, because somebody who you know actually, so Alcides Escobar, back when like, dude, he was in like single A, so like West Virginia Power, and that's when we had first met, and then we stayed in touch all this time, and one of his big show purchases on along the car lines was this like, it was a gold chrome Range Rover. Do you remember that thing? Did he have that when you were there?
He had it. Esky's the best. I love Esky. That man was
Yeah,
not scared
same.
to make a show purchase.
No, yeah, that was like the biggest one that I'd seen. I'm like car wise, and I'm like, dude, that is nuts. That's an
we had
awesome
we had
looking
a
car.
we had a teammate, Kelvin Herrera, who's also probably the funniest teammate maybe I've ever had. And one day we were walking out to the parking lot and we're walking together, and he goes, "Hey, Bobby, come here." And he opened up his Rolls Royce and he goes, "Hey, you want to ride?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And it's a Rolls Royce, and the point of a Rolls Royce is to have a driver. And he didn't want a driver; he wanted to drive it himself. I was like, "You don't understand what a Rolls Royce is. You're defeating the whole purpose here." But sure enough, he whipped that thing just about every day. Drove it in by himself, big old smile on his face, and it's fun. It's fun to look around and see some of the different cars in the parking lots as you bounce around the big leagues.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. But hey, I bet the Volkswagen probably would have held its ground pretty well. But no, you're so right, man.
Yeah,
You ever seen Aroldis Chapman's Rhino GX? I know a bunch of other guys,
yeah.
like Miguel Cabrera and stuff like that has one. I was in that car with him, and he looks at me and he's like, "Yeah, you want to drive?" And I'm like, he's like, "No, you want to drive?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know if you want me driving this thing. This thing's pretty big. This is a tank." And then he unbuckled and we ran around the car. Then I hopped in the driver's seat and we took that thing for a spin. But that thing was nuts. And like you said, like those are the types of cars that you see in the show. So I'm glad that the Volkswagen though lived a good life.
It lived a good life, and yeah, I don't know where it is now, but I'm sure it's still putting along because that thing was a tank. Not quite the not quite the Chapman tank, but it was a tank. It ran good.
One thing that you said that I kind of want to just point out is that by having your parents and just being very supportive and being fortunate enough to be in this position, by them helping with your setup in the minor leagues living wise, it allows you to focus more on baseball. So you're in the minors for 6 years, which is exactly how many years your dad had spent in the minors playing professional baseball. Of course, there's ups and downs, like you said, like living situation, definitely not ideal. You're getting older, and as you get older, you know how it is with your body. It's not what it used to be when it was 20 years old. But the way that you were able to stay so focused and determined and really just have your horse blinders on was is just so admirable. But there was at one point in 2015 where you had called up your dad and you're like, dude, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how much longer I could do this. So if you remember that phone call or that conversation with him, just like take us back to that. Cause I think a lot of people, and I know you've experienced this, but when you're in the minor leagues and you have friends, they're like, "Oh yeah, my buddy plays baseball." They don't really know where exactly you are and all this other stuff. Then you get to the big leagues, and all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, he plays for the Royals. He's got this huge house. He does this," but like they don't actually understand or know that grind that anybody goes through in the minors. And you did it for 6 years. So like, if you can, just take us back to that conversation. That's kind of a long-winded question. My bad, but I think you probably got the gist.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean it's there. There was many conversations like that happened. I got frustrated a lot in the minor leagues because I'd come from the top of my mountain, the top of what I thought was the highlight of my baseball life. Winning the College World Series, and now I'm in Burlington, Iowa, Wilmington, Delaware, Fayetteville, Arkansas, like these places I don't really want to be. I want to be in Kansas City. Um, and so there was many conversations when I'd be playing well, and not really understanding fully how the process works, with guys moving up, with stuff happening. I'd be playing really well, and then somebody would get called up instead of me, and it would just deflate me, and I'd call my dad and just kind of vent to him and be pissed off about it, and he'd try to steer me back on track. Sometimes it was easier than other times, and I'd kind of get back on track, and then they bump me down to like sixth in the lineup and take away some playing time, and I'd be like, get deflated again. And that was constant. And I think I spent 2 years in A ball, 2 years in parts of 3 years in Double A, and then really parts of 4 years in Triple A, kind of off and on or up and down once I finally got to the big leagues. But in 2014, I started in Double A, had a really good month, and then got called up for actually one of my really good friends in the minor leagues. His name was Brian Fletcher. He rolled his ankle pretty badly, and so they called me up under the assumption that when his ankle healed, I was going to come back down, which was, they were saying, about 3 weeks. So when I got to AAA, it was a little bit of a different energy, because now I'm in AAA. I'm one hamstring, one, ball inside, hit by pitch, broken finger, bruised shin, whatever it may be. I'm one of those away from getting a call if it's the right guy, right situation. So there was a different energy that kind of came about me, and I really took off in 2014. I think I ended up hitting 340 in AAA, and was organizational player of the year at the end of the year, and kind of had some rumblings around the time of September that I might get called up, but really wasn't. That would have been great if it would have happened, but I really wasn't too upset that it didn't happen. I was just happy that I kind of got my name on the radar, because I hadn't ever really been a prospect, even though I put up good numbers pretty much every year, decent numbers, not great numbers, but decent numbers. Now I finally did something to for people to stop and go, whoa, look at that. That's pretty good. Who is this kid? So that got me excited. Got invited to big league camp in 2015. Actually didn't and so this is my protection year. Didn't get put on the roster after my great year, which was the biggest bummer of that season, was that they didn't
Oh, I
protect me.
bet.
And not only did they not protect me, but no other team picked me up. No other team took me in the Rule 5 draft. So I was kind of disappointed by that. But, I got invited to big league camp the next year. Played really well in big league camp. Ned Yost said I had the best camp of anybody, and was the last cut going into the 2015 season at a camp. So almost made the team out of camp. Again, didn't expect to make the team out of camp, but got excited because, I got down to the last cut. So I'm on their radar. Something happens, I'm going to come up at some point this year. And started the year off pretty good. I was hitting, I believe I was hitting around 300 into June. And in June, like middle of June, we're playing at home against the Iowa Cubs, and it's like the third inning. I just score, and third out's made, and I'm in the dugout. I go grab my glove and my hat to go on the field, and our manager, who's coaching third, walks in and goes, "No, you're staying in here." And I had kind of made a funny slide into home, and so I thought he was thinking that I was hurt. I was like, "No, I'm fine. It just looked weird. I'm fine." And he goes, "No. Alex Gordon just got carted off the field in Kansas City." And I was playing left field at the time for the AAA team. And they're like, the team wants you out of the game. When that happens, everybody knows what it means. A guy comes out of the game for a non-injury situation. He's going to the big leagues. And this was the third inning. So social media is obviously prevalent. And
Yeah.
where I got back, my parents are streaming the game on the internet, and they see I come out, so they think I'm hurt, and then they hop on social media, and these people are saying that Gordo got hurt and that Whit came out of the game, so Whit's going to the big leagues. So I think KC's playing in KC the next day playing a home game. And it's late at night. So my parents hop in the car, start driving to Kansas City uh, in the third inning of our AAA game. And because they can't get on the flight in time. And so I'm sitting there for 6 innings thinking I'm going to the big leagues. Um, Game gets over. Everyone's giving me hugs. Game gets over. I go in, start packing my suitcase and pack it up, walk out to the car. And as I'm loading my trunk in the car and I'm about to go in and tell everybody goodbye, our manager comes running out and goes, "Hey, come here." And so I go in the office and he sits me down and goes, "The team just called and they decided that they're going to bring up, it's more important for them to have a pitcher up there right now. So they were going to carry an extra bullpen arm and lose the position player." And so that was a bummer. I had to call my family, tell them to turn around. So that hit me pretty hard. And then they told me later they weren't ready to use up a roster spot, which a little bit later they used a roster spot about a week later on another guy who's similar position to myself. So I didn't really like that excuse at the time. But at the same time, I'm like, again, I'm on their radar. They've already pretty much called me up. So when September comes around and rosters get expanded, I'll be up. Didn't really play well after that. That kind of deflated me, like I talked about earlier. I think I went from hitting 300 at that time. I think I finished the year hitting 260, 270, something like that. Had a pretty bad second half. And September hit. I didn't get called up. And that was when I called my father and said, "Look, I've been doing this too long. This is hurting me too bad. Like I gotta, that's it." And I was like, "I'm gonna come home." We had like 3 games left in September. I was like, "I'm gonna come home and try to reevaluate what I want to do." He understood and he did the same thing, but he just wanted to remind me, which is something that always stuck with me, that he said, "Once you take your cleats off, that's it. You can't put them back on. So just know if you make this decision, that's it. That's the final decision. So just think about it. Come home, take a month off, and reevaluate." So I did that, reevaluated, and that year went through a total transformation. I I evaluated myself, what I was good at, what I was bad at, and what I looked at the big league players and I looked at things that they were good at and things that they were bad at. I came to the conclusion I needed to hit more home runs, plain and simple. And so I put on 20 pounds that winter, which was the hardest thing to this day that I've ever had to do athletically. And I ended up hitting, I think I ended up hitting 8 home runs in AAA that year, or 9 maybe, and then 2 in the big league. So I hit 11 home runs, which was the first time in my professional career I'd hit double-digit home runs in a season. And then in 2000, so when I got called up at 16, I did enough that year to earn a spot. Kind of the next year, I actually didn't make the team out of 17 either, but just tore it up for 2 weeks in AAA to start the year, and then got called up, and I ended up hitting 19 home runs that year. So that was kind of what turned my career around, really.
So is this around the time that you're deadlifting 510 pounds?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. I'm like, dude,
I,
this is one strong guy.
so I'd always been pretty strong for my size, but I was still 170 pounds at the time. So I went to see a strength coach around here named Adam Barber at Torque, and basically told him, "Look, I gotta transform my body. I'd come home and done these baseball workouts when I got home, which was like these band retractions and like 10 push-ups and do like 5 pull-ups and then do some stretching and call it a day." And I didn't know any better, and so I went to see him, and kind of took on more of a football style workout and was like, whoa, this is different. Got on the diet plan where I was eating a ridiculous amount of food, and yeah, I got to about 190, 195, and still had the speed that I was a little concerned I would lose if I put on that weight, but I put on the weight, but it was good weight, so I just got stronger all the way around, and so I was still fast, still moving, and I was like, okay, so that was what transformed my career.
That's so awesome. So a couple of things about that transformation is that one, your dad, it seems like he gave you that perfect advice where it wasn't like pushing you and it wasn't being like, all right, come on home. Like, it seems like he gave you that perfect advice, which was impressive in his position because he had been playing minor league baseball for 6 years. He got the call to the big leagues. The game got canceled because of rain. Jim Leyland sent him down to the Florida Instructional League, and then he never ended up getting that shot. So like he
Right.
easily could have said to you like, dude, you have to keep on doing this. You have to. He could have said, all right, well, just take him off and go home. Like, but like the way that he delivered that message, it sounded like it was perfect, which speaks volumes to his character and the type of person that he is. And then this whole entire situation speaks so much volumes to your character because instead of saying like a word that you used earlier, a phrase, you're on top of your mountain, instead of being like, I've always been the best, I've always been the best, I've always been the best, you're like, all right, let me take a step back, reevaluate, and see what I need to do better in order to get to that next level and stay at that next level, which you've been able to do at 2016 since 2016. So like when you got to that point where you're making your big league debut and you're facing David Price in your first at bat in the big leagues, like a Cy Young winner, like you're not just that rookie making the debut. Like, yeah, sure you are, but also like, dude, you've been preparing this for this your entire life. You've been setting yourself up for this situation. And again, like off of David Price that first at bat, and I think did you line out to Jackie Bradley Jr. that first at bat too? Was he in center field?
You can call it a line out. It was a
I,
it was a
I
barreled
used my
fly
one
ball.
line drive
Yeah,
token this.
yeah, yeah. That
Like
way,
that's wild
I
too.
won't call that one a line drive. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but that's
yeah. It
wild too,
was.
and it's like you're meant to be in that moment.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it was kind of surreal to finally get up there. And then I got up there, and everything just sort of changed. My whole mentality sort of changed. I was finally back to playing on a team that the focus of the everyday objective was to win. I had spent so many years being a part of teams where all the only focus is player development and getting guys to the big leagues and individually, what do I got to do to get better? And you can try to replicate that in the minor leagues. You can try to come out with the winning, focus on winning. But I mean, at the end of the day, nobody's going to care about winning a championship in the minor leagues if it means they get to get called up. Every single player is going to take the chance to get called up over winning in the minor leagues, and that's just the nature of the sport. And it's a tough environment to be in when you're not as is not as naturally talented as I am. I can't really show my skill set in that sort of environment just because I'm not good enough. I have my what makes me good is represented in a atmosphere that is trying to win. I can hit and run, I can bunt, I can hit behind runners, I can situational hit. I can play good defense. I can bounce around. I can steal a base. I can make a smart play. You come watch a series. If a Rover's coming in to watch a series in the minor leagues, yeah, that's hard. That's hard to see if you're not watching a consistent stretch of baseball. So I got to that point, and I just sort of kind of found my swagger again, for lack of a better term, and started playing better. And at the same time, as much as I loved being up there, that's how much I hated the minor leagues and just did not want to go back. So I was doing everything I could to avoid going back to the minor leagues. And fought it for a long time, didn't quite work out. Ended up getting sent down a couple more times, but just yeah, just kept moving forward, kept trying to learn, kept trying to get better, and still trying to.
Yeah, all these deflations were just adding fuel to the fire. And then, like we said before, when you got that call and then you get that first hit off of David Price, and you even got something to remind you of that moment. Eventually, he sent over a baseball to you, the one that said on your way to 3,000 hits from
Yeah,
David
yeah.
Price. Dude, you got to
Yeah,
have
so I,
that in the man cave when the house is ready.
oh yeah, that's right over there. Yeah,
Yeah.
as I had, I guess, become a little more established in the big leagues, we were playing them, and I had talked to him a little bit before the game, and I said, "Hey, I was your first, or you were my first hit, right?" He was like, "Oh, no way." And I said, "Yeah." So I was like, you mind if I send a ball over for you to sign?" He goes, "No problem, send it over." And he's great, and I just thought he would sign it for me, and I would write on it, first hit or something. But he wrote, I think it's like, glad I could be your first, like, on the way to 3,000 or something like that, which I thought was so cool. And then he put at the end, he put like SEC forever or something like that. So
Nice.
yeah, it was really cool. It's a cool memento, and it's definitely, it's sitting over there, and I can't wait to showcase it a little bit better and outside of this little cottage.
Yeah. So like you said, like a cool momentum, and then you got the 2018 jersey, in the case that says with the shoot. It's man, you also got the base, a bat, a baseball scorecard. I think you said led the league in hits and stolen bases. So you have these things, right? All these things to kind of remind you of how far you've come, and it's just such a great reminder. And it's cool that you have them at your home, and then even too, like when it comes to reminding yourself these very subtle reminders of how far you've come and your work ethic and your character. You even color your glove after somebody who you loved as a kid growing up, which is Derek Jeter. So you use the black glove. Now, I'm saying that, but the day that you had gotten called up, there was a crazy glove and gear story behind that. It's kind of like bad dreamish, almost like if you see your favorite player for the first time and you want to get his autograph, you have the ball, but you don't have a pen, and you're like, ah. So just share with us that time where you had that little gear mix up, I guess you could say, because
Yeah,
that's nuts, dude. And to still be focused and ready for the game, that's
yeah, that was a crazy day. The day I got called up, we were in Tacoma, Washington, and I just kind of was getting back into golf, and so we have an 11 a.m. kids day. We have an off day the next day when we're
the
traveling.
11 a.m. kids days.
Yeah, kids day is great.
SpongeBob SquarePants, baby.
Over and over. I'm so sick of that song. Um,
Yeah.
so 11 a.m. kids day. The next day we have like a 6 a.m. flight to Reno, or I think we were flying, and so they just played the U.S. Open at Chambers Bay, and so we wanted to go play it. So we made a tee time for, I want to say, 3 o'clock. It might have been even earlier than that, and that's pretty aggressive for a when you got 11 a.m. first pitch. And so we had all made the agreement that we were going to swing as early as we could in the count and just kind of put the ball in play just to sort of get the game going. I know this is a terrible thing to say, but this is how it went down. So we
Yeah, no, I understand.
it was about the quickest game in AAA history, and we made our tee time. Ended up playing Chambers Bay, which was one of the coolest courses I had ever played at the time. Got done with got walked off 18. Just a perfect day. Had a great time with teammates, and got a phone call from our manager as I walked off 18, and saying, "You're going to the big leagues." And I said, "You sure?" He said, "Nope, I'm not sure, but I think you are." And I was like, "All right, here we go again." So I called my family, and this is probably 8:30, 8 o'clock, maybe Pacific time. So they're all asleep. It's 11 o'clock East Coast time, and got a hold of my mom and dad. Got a hold of my mom because my dad turns his phone off when he sleeps, and so I got a hold of my mom. So she woke everybody up. Got a hold of my sister and brother. Couldn't get a hold of my wife, who was then my fiance. Uh, she just was not answering. She couldn't answer the phone. She was knocked out and just was not responding. Called her mom. Mom didn't answer. Finally got a hold of her sister, who's a night nurse. So got a hold of her. She came in, broke into my fiance's house, and woke her up. And everybody got on board. And there was an early flight going to KC the next day. But going back to the equipment thing, so after the game in Tacoma, because AAA is extremely cheap, instead of flying the gear with us the next morning to Reno, they got this enormous truck and threw all the equipment in the truck and had the truck drive from Tacoma to Reno. So when I got the call, all of my stuff was in a truck somewhere between Tacoma and Reno. And I was playing in the big leagues the next day. So I was like, I didn't think about that until, I made all my phone calls and got back to the hotel, and it's like, 10:30, and I got a 3 a.m. wake up call to get in a cab to go to the airport. And I'm like, shit, I don't have any stuff. And so I called my clubby at the time, and I was like, dude, I've got like an old outfield glove, an old infield glove, and some old cleats in my locker. I was like, I need them to be in KC tomorrow. They have to be there because I don't have anything else. He's like, all right, I got you. So he drove it down, and I borrowed batting gloves. I borrowed sliders. I had, new undershirt, but I was gonna get that anyway. And just this old glove that I hadn't used in a while. That if you're a baseball player, like there's a comfort level with your glove, and the last thing you want to do is your debut, catch a routine ball, and have to slide out of your glove because you're not used to the way your glove closes and stuff like that. And people that don't play might not understand, but there's a comfort level with your glove. And so I'm using this old glove that I'm not comfortable with, these cleats that are old and worn down and have no tread, and a pair of batting gloves that I'm not used to wearing. So it was all I could do to just get through the day. Fortunately,
Yeah, poor guy.
but fortunately I went 1 for 3, and the night before I didn't sleep at all. So I had just played. I just played 11 a.m. Kids Day. I had walked 18 holes. I was in bed at 11, didn't sleep because I was scared to death I was going to miss my 3 o'clock alarm. So I'm going on tired legs, no sleep, early flight, connecting flight, 2-leg flight to KC. I get to KC. It's a doubleheader. I'm playing the second game. And so I have to sit in the GM's office and wait. It's the middle of a doubleheader, so we have barely any time. So I don't get to take BP. I have to run out on the field with our first base coach Rusty Kuntz in between, and take some fly balls and left so I can get a feel of a third. I've never played in a third deck before, so I got to get a feel of a third deck. Take about 5 fly balls. Go in. Manager goes, "Hey, you're hitting ninth, playing left, by the way." And I was like, "Okay," but I was so tired
Yeah.
from the day before that I didn't have the energy to get nervous. So, I think it just sort of all leveled me out, and I was actually relatively calm that whole game, and had a decent first at bat. I think I worked the count to 3-2 or something, fouled off some balls, and then flew out to center. And then first pitch, second at bat, he threw a changeup, and I hit it in the 6 hole. And I just that's just what I was like. Just let me get one hit today. If I can get one hit today, I can reset and I can really start playing. And I did, and it was finally got my gear the next day, and with kind of felt like normal. We flew to Chicago, so they sent it to Chicago, and kind of got back to a sense of normalcy, and just kind of took off after that.
Yeah, and then you eventually got your energy drink deal Sunshine down the road, which I'm sure you probably could use about 10 of those cans that day. But dude, everything worked. In all seriousness, everything worked out perfect, and it was kind of on par for the course. No pun intended, because I know we're talking about a lot of golf, but par for the course for your entire story. And dude, totally well worth it, because you're still playing right now. You're still kicking ass. You've been an all-star already twice. Led the American League in stolen bases a handful of times, led in hits. And another fun instance that you had with the phone call, or it may not have been a phone call, but you found out that you were an all-star one of those times while you're in the shower.
Yeah, that was this past year. Yeah.
Yeah, 2021.
Yeah. So I didn't get voted in initially, and we were in Cleveland, and it was Friday before the break. You know, we break on Sunday, and all those Astros guys decided they didn't want to play in the game, and one of them was Altuve, and our manager comes in. I'm in the shower and goes, "Hey, you want to? You're in the game. You want to go?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I want to go. What do you mean?" And he's like, "All right, you're in there." And then everybody like was like, "Oh," and came to hug me. Then everyone just kind of stopped, like just realized everybody was naked, and they're like, "All right, maybe we'll
Yeah.
do. Maybe we'll hug later."
It's a great spot to pop some champagne, but outside of that, yeah, maybe not the
Yeah,
most ideal celebration spot.
yeah, yeah. No, it was great, and it was it was nice to hear. You know, after I was told that it wasn't, I was the next guy in line as far as player voting goes, and so it didn't matter who it was. It just so happened that it happened to be Altuve, but it didn't matter the position other than I think first base and catcher. I was going to be the one that got brought up, so that was kind of reassuring, and it felt really good that the players felt strong enough about me to vote me in. But it's cool to be. It was my first All Star game was incredible. It's cool. It's great. It was incredible to be labeled an All Star, but it's got a little bit better ring to say 2-time All Star.
Oh, for sure, dude, and it's just started, man. It's gonna keep on going up, man. I don't. We're already dating this by doing that, but dude, no, huge things are on the way, man. And Jordan, when you told her that you were an all star again for the second time, like by now, does she know to have her phone on like crazy high tone, like ringtones or whatever like
No,
that, so she doesn't miss anything?
no, she's stubborn as a
I-
damn mule.
Is she still making soup nearby? I hope she didn't hear. You might be in the
she's a,
doghouse for a little.
she's over there. She's checked out. She don't know what's going on. Soup's ready though.
Yeah. All right. So you get all these great accolades in baseball. And then when it comes to social media, you have a pretty good presence there. You have a lot of deals on your Instagram page and on Twitter. You're pretty vocal over there. What could be better than getting a shout out from Cal Ripken Jr., the Iron Man himself, about your insane consecutive game played streak? Does it get any better than that? Because right now, at the moment of this recording, you have the longest streak of any player in Major League Baseball of most games played consecutively.
Yeah, that's a. It was obviously it was one of the highlights of my social media life, I guess. The other being
Yeah.
the other one being Kansas City. The Twitter or social media team put something out saying like retweet for a chance to win like a signed ball from me or something. And Bo Jackson quoted and said, "Can I get one?" And I thought that was pretty cool. But
Oh.
yeah, no, I mean, with social media, I'm a I like to keep my private life relatively private. You know, I pretty much just put on there promotional stuff, deals that I have, or if I'm trolling somebody. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, so on the trolling side of things, one of your buddies and teammates, Salvador Perez, I think this was about like 4 years ago or 5 years ago now. I created a fun video with him. We were breaking down a lot of his posts that he did with Lorenzo Kane. I love Lo Kane, man. He's the best.
he's the best. He's one of my favorites.
Dude, they were great 1-2 punch, especially on social media. And that's kind of what I see between you and Brady Singer, who was a 2018, I think, first round pick. If you ask what he did with his signing bonus, he paid off his like parents' house and all this
Mm.
other like cool, crazy stuff, which is awesome. But yeah, you like to have some fun with it, him and kid around with him a bunch on social media, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love the kid. He is he is about as smart as a bag of rocks. I mean, there's nothing going on up there. What he did with his signing bonus after he paid off his parents' house, which I don't know how he figured out how to do that. I guarantee you, he just told somebody what he wanted to do this. He probably just went to the bank and like just said, "Here's some cash. This is my parents'
Yeah.
house."
Yeah, his
But
parents paid it off because they were the ones who cashed a check. They're like, "All right,
yeah,
thanks, Brady.
yeah.
I'll be right back."
But he took his whole family to a steakhouse, and the waiter came around and asked what everybody was wanting. He ordered a filet mignon because he never knew how to say it. So it's just he's always doing stuff like that, and it just makes it so easy to mess with him. And he's a good sport about it. If he wasn't a good sport about it, then it wouldn't be any fun. But he he takes it well, and um, we have a lot of fun messing with him.
Dude, I love the pictures that you post when the Royals tweet that there's like a rain delay or like a
Yeah.
whatever postponement, and then it's pictures of him sad. Dude, you guys got to check this out, man. This is so funny. But those are probably some of my favorite. How'd you
Yeah.
get all these pictures? Did you like go into his house one time and just take pictures of everything on the wall, or like how'd you get all these pictures that you could post of him?
Well, he's a really quiet guy when you first get to know him. So in 2020, like I didn't really get to know him that well, and then he lived with me in spring training. He lived with myself and Brad Keller in 2021, and about a week or two in, I realized that it's not that he's quiet, is that he knows that when he talks, something stupid's going to come out, and so he tries not to talk very much. And so when some of the stupid stuff started coming out, I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be fun." Because I I so I was actually watching the Florida game when he was pitching because my dad works for Wake Forest Athletics and he's got a lot of involvement with the baseball program. So he was actually pitching against Wake, and the they pull the tarp, like the storm comes in, they pull the tarp, and Brady just loses his mind. And at the time, you have no context of why. You just see this guy losing his mind on TV. And he's a good pitcher. Like he's a first rounder. You're like, all about him. You're like, this kid sucks. And then that happens. And then you meet him, and the first thing that he says is, "Hi, I'm Brady Singer. I'm the guy that yelled at the rain," because everybody bashes him, and so he assumes that because people make fun of him for this, everybody knows that he's the guy that yells at the rain. And so I got a big kick out of that was kind of how he um, regards himself. And as I got to know him, I got to know Jackson Coar, who was Brady's teammate in college, and I would get like, I know Jackson's a lot more open, and he's from Charlotte, and so we connected about people we knew, stuff like that. So it was me and him got a little closer, a little quicker. And so I was like, "Jackson, what you got on Brady, man?" And he just kind of like smirked at me and just was like, "Hold on." And so he got out of his phone and just started sending me all these pictures. And I'm just going through these
Oh,
pictures,
yes.
just dying laughing, like this, like, what is this? And he goes, this is just Brady. And so I have all these pictures saved in my phone. And it's the rain thing, how he hates rain is just it's all culminated from that moment at Florida, and nobody lets him live it down. And it's a joke around the clubhouse, and it's a joke on social media. Apparently, even before I started doing this, people were giving him crap about it. So we had our like a first rain delay. I don't know what it was, but I just thought it'd be funny to show a pouty Brady face, and he didn't. It's not so much that other people enjoyed it; it was the fact that he looked at his phone and went, "God, Whit." That was it. I was like, "That's all I need to see." You'll never have another rain delay where you don't get abused in some way, and he's just he's just fun to mess with.
If you end up reusing any of the photos, you should definitely reuse the one that he's got the suntan line and the hat on his forehead. That one is pretty funny. That was a good one.
That just happened. Yeah, that just happened.
Yeah.
We're at Kyle Zimmer's wedding, and I had him. He called me, said, "Hey, what's the dress code here for the wedding?" And I'm looking at the invitation, and every event it has what time, where it is, and what the dress code is. I'm like, so instead of saying, "Dude, just look at the invitation," I go, "Hey, man, it's a black tie event." And he was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Yeah." So he had his full three piece black suit with a bow tie and everything, and we're at a beach wedding. But we were at the pool all day. He took his hat off, and he sent me a picture. Like, so we got done with the pool. We all went in the shower and get ready. He sent me a picture and went, "Well, should turn my hat around." And it was just It was
Oh, that was
perfect.
from the same trip. Jeez,
Yeah,
golden content trip right there. Yeah, I thought I was looking in the mirror
yeah.
just now.
I know that
That's
was
funny.
good timing.
Yeah, yeah. For those of you
It
who aren't
made me
watching
like
this, we just put the hair back.
check my hat when we
Yeah,
talked about it. I was like,
I
"What I
know,
got
right?
going
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and the last great Brady Singer social media thing was the tweet, which I have written down over here, and I never resort to notes or anything like that, but I had to read off this one tweet because I didn't want to mess it up. But um, if Whit Merrifield can paint a house in 3 hours and Brady Singer can paint the same house in 5 hours, how long does it take for them to paint it together?
on?"
Dude, your response was great.
Yeah, yeah,
You said
he's a
what,
treat.
5 hour? You'll drink a beer and watch him for 5 hours.
Yeah, if it takes me 3 hours and 5 hours, how long will it take to paint the house? It'll take 5 hours because I'll make him paint it. It's basically what it'll come down
Yeah,
to.
yeah. And then he hit you back with saying that you don't drink beer and you had like a pink drink, which I'm sure was great. And then you got him back with it was like an espresso martini or something.
Yeah, yeah, that was a bold statement from him. And every time he tries to do a little, he doesn't think through his responses very well because they don't carry much weight.
Yeah, he's a Florida dude, so we could just call him the Florida man for now on. And how much is Cool Wit brought up the fan video that went viral on YouTube and Facebook a while back, and also too the other video that you did with Coach Ballgame, the Fortnite one. I think that's at about 500,000 views on YouTube right now. But dude, you've gone viral a couple of times, man.
Coach Ballgame brings energy that I've never seen before. that guy's that guy's crazy in a good way. He's awesome, but
Your
man,
tweet, your tweet said, it was something like, does anybody have a cup of coffee for this guy, or like he needs some? But yeah, no, he brings great.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's
is.
energetic.
I was like, is this guy for real? And then because he
He's
was
great.
awesome, but he was like off the wall, and I was like, "There's no way that's real." And everybody I talked to was like, "That's just how he is." I was like, "Whew, man!" But he was great. But the Cool Wit thing was, I no offense to whoever made the video, but I never, I don't know, I never really got behind it too much. I guess
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird." And then people would bring it up, and I'd be like, "Y'all like that? All right, cool." But yeah, that was years ago. So I think we got too many young guys that haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, the last social media post that I loved was you had taken a picture of all the Patrick Mahomes shirts, which he's a part-time owner of the Kansas City
Mm.
Royals, quarterback, awesome quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, but 15 is your number. So you had tweeted a picture of that. And then I got a kick out of you eventually went to a Kansas City Chiefs game and you wore your number 15 and you had Merrifield on the back. So it
Yeah,
worked out perfectly.
yeah, that was less of actually I wore that before all the stuff came out because I beat the drum. I did the war chant, the rally cry, and they give you a jersey with your name and number on the back. So I had that, and then somebody somebody sent me something that off season when I think it was Shields put out the 15 Royals Mahomes jersey, and I was like, huh. I was like, doesn't he have enough? I think I think he's doing okay. We don't have to like give him another jersey with another team on it. Like it's my jersey, you know. And I said it in kind of a tongue in cheek way, like it was just kind of making fun. And
Yeah.
I'd say, well, my teammates didn't like it. They didn't like that Shields did that, which kind of made me feel good. I was like, thanks, guys. I got my back.
Yeah, for sure. Well, did you get anything in return? Did anybody send you
No,
anything like the store gift card, or did Mahomes or anybody like send you? Okay, all right. So we got to make that
no,
happen eventually at some point.
no.
We're gonna
They
make that
were.
happen for sure.
I mean, Shields was pretty much like, sorry, they're selling. I was like, all
Oh
right,
God.
that's fair.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I definitely
but
want to talk about at least like one company that you work with, which is Sunshine. You're huge into like promoting with them and everything, and you got it in your bio and everything like that. So you think about all these things that you've done, what your baseball career has gotten you to, and you're making all these deals. And we kind of touched on it before, but dude, you're making like very wise moves right now when it comes to your playing career and your post playing career, because that type of stuff, that thing's going to take you past your playing days. So how important is that to you when it comes to working with all these companies, especially like Sunshine?
Yeah, Sunshine's been great. They're a local energy drink from my hometown. They're extremely healthy energy drink. It's There's no sugar in one of their new lines, but even the ones that have sugar, there's a little bit of sugar. There's none of the crap in it that like Red Bull, Monster have. It's basically just an alternate for drinking coffee. It's got 70 milligrams of caffeine, organic green tea caffeine, and it's a pick me up. It's not a heart burster, as I call it. So they taste phenomenal. They're a great product. They make you feel great. You don't have a crash. They just give you a nice little boost. And it's a partnership, but it was the first investment that I made into a company. It's not just a company reaching out to me saying, "Will you do this amount of social media posts for X amount of dollars or whatever?" It was a company that I know. I'm friends with the CEO, and I like their product. They're a local company, and I wanted to support them, and I wanted to do it in a way where I was invested, because I really do like the product. I really do drink it every day. I don't know if you saw the YouTube video we did with the Happy Gilmore reference, which was probably my favorite thing that we've done. But I really do drink the product. I really do believe in it, I've enjoyed partnering with them.
Dude, you're as authentic as it gets, man. Like, and I'm so proud of what you've been able to accomplish in your career on and off the baseball field. And I want everybody to be able to stay in touch with you, continue following your journey on social media. So shoot out all your different social media platforms so they could see the Sunshine post, they could see the post from you at the ballpark, and other fun videos that you got going on.
I need to do better on social media. I don't do very good on there because I'm just kind of a private
Well,
guy.
here, I would say this, and I think this is a pretty fair assessment. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but from what I can tell, Instagram definitely more so of the business side. Like that's where you make all your deals. That's where you give a little bit into your life, and you can see that sweet golf swing. And on Twitter is kind of where you make more of the jokes and kind of like mess around and stuff like that. So you kind of offer two different things. So I guess I kind of did that job for you, kind of describing which platform is your bread and butter for the more serious stuff and the business type stuff. But yeah, dude, I love following you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I've got like the Instagram, the close friends thing. I've gotten to like that, so I feel a little more obligated to share some stuff, but I can just show it to my friends. So that makes me feel a little better. Maybe I'll make a TikTok. Maybe I'll be a TikTok influencer.
Yeah, and that'll be the next step.
What do you think about that, Jordan? We're gonna be TikTok influencers. No. All right. She says no.
That was the one thing that my wife was kidding around with about when we first had our baby, and I was on paternity leave. She was like, "Yeah, let's just become TikTok famous," as a joke. And I actually ended up putting a few up that got like 200, I think 250,000 views or something like that. And I was like, "Oh yeah, this is sweet." But then every other one is like a bust, and I'm like, "Dude, this is a completely different platform from Instagram and Twitter, man." Like, yeah, it's different. But dude, brother, you're the man, Whit. I appreciate you hopping on the show. I love hearing all about your story, and I just can't wait to see what else happens for you down the road. So thank you so much for hopping on Keep Swinging, Whit.
No doubt, man. Appreciate you.